It is 6:07. Let us call the meeting to order, please. And we have, I'll just do who's absent right now.
That's fine.
Bethany is out of town and probably unable to log in by Zoom. As is Lindy, and we already knew that Bruce was going to be out of town and unable to join. No word from Selena. So let us go ahead and get started. Are there any corrections?
Heather, could I
Go
ask
ahead.
could I ask you to move your camera? I have a lovely picture of somebody's purse at the foot of a table and nothing. No, yeah, that one. But I can't see any of the people.
Let's see here.
And just a little bit more.
I had it set up right, but I guess not.
You did, and then it moved. Okay,
Okay.
that's perfect.
You
Thank you.
expanded the list.
Okay.
Over.
Thank
Okay,
you, Lynn,
thank
for
you.
letting us know.
So any additions, corrections to the minutes from the last meeting in April?
No.
I have one, which is just a typo, and that is in the roll call. Selena, we're missing the N in her first name.
Okay.
No biggie on that. And if anyone else, no one else has additions or corrections, let's just move to approve those meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. And all in favor to approve the minutes as corrected, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, that passes. And we will now go to the agenda. I don't think we need to approve the agenda. We'll just head on to new business. Because our draft strategic plan.
Let me go ahead and try to share my screen, maybe if I can. That's interesting. Let's see here. I need to move this far up. All right. So this is a very, very early draft of the strategic plan. We've sort of settled on our 4 areas of focus, which came out of the stakeholders meeting and the staff meeting. So the 4 areas are satisfy curiosity, which is about programming, so having a wide variety of programs. Create young readers, which is about early literacy, so children birth to 5 years old. We're going to combine 2, be an informed citizen and know your community. So because we feel like there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
And then celebrate diversity came out very strongly in the stakeholder meeting. So and really good in the staff meeting as well. So I just put the number of votes there so you could see sort of how things fell out with those 4 areas. And so we've done a draft mission statement, which I presented to my staff this morning at our staff meeting. So they're going to think about it and get back to me with changes, which could come from that meeting. So this is a very draft mission statement, but I wanted to give you guys an idea. So as we're talking about the vision statement, you have an idea of sort of where we're going with our mission statement. So our draft mission statement is Sandy and Hoodland libraries are safe, inclusive spaces where everyone is free to explore, discover, and connect. And we tried to put all of these pieces, these 4 focus areas into that. So I don't know if you can see them all there or feel like you want to give me any input on our draft mission statement. I expect, my next staff meeting, I expect the staff will have some suggestions or maybe even before then. Do you have any thoughts about our draft mission statement?
I think it's very clear and, good.
Real concise.
Yeah.
It captures all the focus areas well.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, can you remind me what the previous mission statement or the current mission statement is?
It is, let's go look at our city website.
Uh-huh.
Which it should be on there. No, it's not. It used to be on our main page and it's not anymore. So let's see here.
Maybe about.
What was that?
Maybe in the about
I think
section.
it could be in about. Maybe if I go just to the main, there it is.
Mhm.
So the Sandy and Hoodland Libraries support the community in their endeavors to create lifelong readers, learn to read and write, develop the ability to find accurate information and connect to the online world. So it was a little bit wordier, but it was very specific to the some of the focus areas that we
Yeah.
had from the last strategic plan.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And say the draft one again.
The draft one is Sandy and Hoodland Libraries are safe, inclusive spaces where everyone is free to explore, discover, and connect.
I do like the sound of that. I guess when I look at the areas of focus and then I listen to that, the sort of learning piece feels like it's missing in some way, although it is included in the larger whole. That would be my only feedback.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like learning at programs or becoming an informed citizen, what part of learning, Lynn, would you want to make
Well-
sure we tried to call out?
You've got explore, discover, and connect, and it might just learn or something. It just, I feel like there's a sort of fundamental library function that is not called out. It doesn't necessarily need to be called out in the mission statement either, so.
Mhm.
Mm.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and again, kind of what Lynn's saying too about overarching, yeah, you do get the sense of it, but the area that seems to not pop out as included is the create young readers
Mhm.
for me.
Mhm, mhm.
That was the input I had from staff this morning.
Yeah.
And they didn't have wording for me, but they wanted to sort of try to figure out a way to get that in there.
Yeah,
How about adding learning from an early age?
Mhm.
We could say instead of everyone, community members of all ages.
Well, I was thinking,
It's
yeah.
more wordy, but it.
Mhm.
Mhm. So think about that while we're discussing the more strategic tactical plan, because a mission statement can be just really broad, but somewhere in the plans going forward,
Mhm.
that needs to be included, called out a bit.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Mhm.
Dale,
d-
you look,
I liked
sorry.
how
Oh, go
concise
ahead,
it
Lynn.
was. I just said I liked how concise it was.
Yeah.
While I raised
It is
questions.
a quick soundbite, easy
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
That feels really important.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And the vision statement can be more expanded.
No, the vision statement is usually
Oh, that's right.
much shorter. It-
Yeah.
it- Yeah,
Yeah.
More-
you look like you had your thinking face on, Dale.
I just thinking it would be, I like the other mission statement, the, promoting literacy in young people.
Mhm.
I don't know how you would word that quite, but
Right,
Mhm.
but try to get that in there.
that idea.
Mhm.
Discover.
I mean, we could do something even like Sandy and Hoodland Libraries are safe, inclusive spaces where everyone is free to explore, discover, and connect, and where early learning is
Emphasized.
a key to a successful life, or you know, or something like that, to try to
Mhm, mhm.
bring in that idea.
Yeah. Just one word that sums that up.
Yeah. Okay. So we just pulled out, one goal and one objective for each of these 4 areas. And there will be many more, goals and objectives under each goal, probably, by the time we finish this plan. But I just wanted to give you a feel for what types of things we were looking at, in terms of goals and objectives. So under satisfy curiosity, the goal that we created was we will provide programs and collections that allow all patrons to explore, discover, and connect. And we were trying to make that go directly back to the mission statement, right? Which is why we used that same wording. So if we change that wording, that goal will likely change a little bit, which is fine. But, and then so each goal has, the people who are going to benefit from this, and then the benefit that they will receive. So this one is about all patrons, and their benefit is going to be they'll be able to explore, discover, and connect, right?
Mhm.
And then each objective has a date when this will be done by, and then it has a measure. So the objective that we wrote is by the end of fiscal year 2028, so the end of this strategic plan, we will provide at least 15 new programs that tie to the areas of patron interest from the needs assessment survey. When surveyed, 25% of people who attended programs will say that this is their first time in the library in the last 3 months. So with this one, we are trying to, we're going to create new programs that tie to that survey that we took of what people like to do and what their interests are and things like that. And then we were trying to bring back people who haven't been in the library for a while to these programs.
I'm trying to tease out like significance of 15 new programs and your staff's capacity and funding, like, which I know it should be ambitious, but is that too ambitious or?
I mean, that would ultimately be 5 programs a year that tie to those interests. And we already do some programs that tie to the interests that people have. So I don't know that we would necessarily consider those new programs, but like all of the seed library programs we do each year are generally new programs that we've never done before. And gardening is one of the main interests that really came out of that survey. So I think that this is pretty doable. And we're already talking about other types of things that we can do. So yeah, I think it is doable. All right, so and then for Create Young Readers, the goal that we created was caregivers. So that's the key group. Will learn how to integrate early literacy tips and engagement strategies at home to empower families as their child's first and most important teachers. And then the objective that we created was by the end of 2026, we will enhance early literacy outcomes for children from birth to age 5 by strengthening programs and resources that prepare them to enter school ready to read, write, and listen. 50% of people when surveyed will say that library programs help them better prepare their kids for school.
Okay, I have a question. It's a fabulous goal. I'm just wondering how
How what?
How will you do the objective? We'll enhance early literacy outcomes. How?
So it will be through story time,
Oh, okay.
basically. And then we will do a survey at story time.
Okay.
We'll also take the mobile library out with our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program.
Okay.
And we will promote the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program in the library and on the mobile library.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
That's all.
All right, I'm just going to read through Know Your Community and Celebrate Diversity really quick so we can get to the meat of trying to create a vision statement, because that's what the meat of our meeting is going to be tonight mostly. So So know your community and be an informed citizen. So the goal, the first one that we came up with was residents will have access to accurate and up-to-date information about Sandy and surrounding communities through city and or library resources and programming. So then our objective by the end of fiscal year 2028, 50 people will have attended programs to receive information and or have a dialogue with local elected officials or city administration. When surveyed, at least 50% of these people will agree that after the program, they better understand what is happening in the city of Sandy. So I've already talked to the mayor and the city manager about having a program at the library, probably monthly, that would be like coffee with the city manager, coffee with the city councilor, pastries with a police officer, so pastries with the public works director. So all of those people could talk and have dialogue with the community members.
I can't remember, did the news assessment show that folks were also interested in county things, especially in the unincorporated areas? So like I wouldn't come to a City of Sandy talk, but I might come to something with a Clackamas Commissioner.
We could certainly
Chair,
set up,
for
yeah,
example.
coffee with the
Commissioner.
Clackamas County Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know that was going to be my question.
Excellent. I love that we can get alliteration out of all of those things.
Like alliteration.
Yeah.
People's attention.
All right, and then for Celebrate Diversity, we have the goal, patrons who belong, and we're going to change this wording from minority group to maybe underserved communities or underrepresented community, populations. Anyway, we've already discussed that to change that. Feel represented in the collections and space in the library. And then our objective is by the end of fiscal year 2026, develop and implement at least 3 new programs or displays that highlight diverse cultures, authors, and experiences, ensuring patrons from those underrepresented groups see themselves reflected in library offerings and events. At least 50 people will have attended these programs or utilized items on display.
Minor point, she can't see the bottom of the screen.
There you go.
Went on to the next page. All right.
Yeah.
We have lots of ideas for other goals and objectives. We just haven't got them fleshed out as much yet, so.
Please we keep busy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the staff is really excited about it, though. I think when we talked about it today at our staff meeting, I could see their eyes start to light up a little bit for some of them who are working on programming, thinking about what they could do to contribute to these areas specifically. And after the staff meeting, I sent out I posted this draft strategic plan and then gave them goals worksheets and objectives worksheets and a list of all the different measures that you could use so that they could start thinking about it as well. Yeah. Do any of these bring to mind something that you feel like could be a goal or objective that I can just?
I think that for me, when you walk us through the objectives like this, I'm more inclined to take the mission statement the way it is,
Okay.
with the broad picture, with the objectives called out, the how and the measurements.
Right.
Obviously important to do, but just the broad mission statement and then the separate objectives leading to them. I think that does bring in the early literacy and all of the rest of it. So I think it's well done.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
We'll still consider maybe getting some words in there about it, but
Yeah,
we'll see where we end up with.
I think just that from, either all ages or from an early age, something like that. That
Mhm.
people don't generally include young children when you say everyone. That's
Mhm.
it just doesn't really
Yeah.
register for most people.
Great. Right. So. Vision statements. So I included, these are the worksheets that Darcy included in some of her work with the stakeholder meeting and what she usually does with strategic planning with groups. So the key characteristics of a vision statement is that they're future, so be based in the future. They're really broad, holistic, community-wide, aspirational, forward-looking. So you're going to see where you're headed and the
Mhm.
ideal end state, although you may never get there, right?
Yep.
So they're sort of aspirational ideas rather than, and then the mission statement is how we're going to try to get there, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know if you looked at these paired vision and mission statements, and these are from all different industries and things like that. They're not all library specific, but did you see anything in any of these that you thought, oh, that I like that vision statement, or
Well, I personally really love the inspire the world, create the future, and add to it a world where everyone can belong anywhere.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah.
That may be too broad, too long, I don't know.
Mhm.
Mm.
That long.
Any other thoughts?
Move it up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
page up a bit.
We're here to help our customers kick ass.
Because I was at the stakeholder meetings there, I looked more at the next document that had the stakeholder responses
Mhm.
and just felt like it reflected.
Can you go down just a minute? Back down. The other way, up, I guess. Okay, so I really like, as a vision statement, a world in which every single human being can freely share the sum of all knowledge. There's something about the sharing the sum of all knowledge that really resonates with the library.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because
In the
they can
very-
share with, yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
I was saying in the very early days of the World Wide Web, if anybody can remember that in the early
Yep.
90s. And then someone described it as, the world's largest library, but with no card catalog.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
It's, I mean, the library's job is to provide access to that world of knowledge and guide users through in some way so that they can find it.
That's where
And then
Google came in.
Mm. Yeah. And in today's world, demonstrate the difference between real information and propaganda.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there we have with organize the world's information and make it globally accessible. Okay, variations on a theme there.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Here's a very succinct mission statement, spread ideas.
Uh,
And it's very active too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's try to guess it.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, let's look at our ideas for the vision statement that came out of the staff meeting and the stakeholder meeting. And see if any of these words, really call out to the group. So at the staff meeting, the words that came up were world, encouraging curiosity, give people power or empower them, build community, inspire, create, achieve their desires, customer-centric, change positive, opportunities for everyone, sustainable, basic needs, and connection. And then from the stakeholder meeting, opportunity, inspires, empowering people, discover, community, create, connect, fulfill, grow, confident, curiosity, participation, access for all, freely share, successful, better everyday life, power of ideas, future, basic needs, information, enabled by people, and inclusion. So a lot of the same themes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does anyone have a feeling for which ones they find most impactful?
I really love inspire, discover, certainly access for all,
Mm-hmm.
and empowering or empowerment. As well.
Community and connection stuck out to me in the stakeholder meeting.
Did you say community connection?
Community and connection.
Okay.
And then something that sticks out to me today and seeing the two lists is basic needs are on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the phrase like better everyday life, too. It's a little maybe more like fancy words for saying the same thing, but
So I'm a little lost between vision and mission, because you could almost say that the draft mission statement is a vision statement.
It could be.
And then if that were the case, then the mission statement could be a little bit more directed about
Mhm.
that access to information, to the world of ideas.
Mhm.
I'm always struck by people who talk about libraries and how in their childhood, where they did not see anything, there's a Scottish comedian, very famous, who says, that he grew up in a working class family in Glasgow, but the library was his doorway to the world, to the idea of the lives, and so
Mhm.
I can see the mission as the vision statement, because it is very broad, it is inclusive, everything together. And then how do you make it a little bit more targeted in the mission?
Mhm. So let's just look a little bit at the key characteristics of a vision statement and a mission statement. So the key characteristics of a vision statement are, let's see if I can find my sheet. Yes. Futuristic, broad, holistic, community-wide, aspirational, forward-looking, where you're headed, the ideal end state.
Which one is that?
That's the
Vision.
vision statement.
Vision.
The key characteristics of a mission statement, the purpose of the organization, the how of getting to your organization's vision, well-defined, succinct, concrete, more grounded than the vision. They also say that the mission statement should be relatively unique to your organization. So I can see how the mission statement that we came up with could be a vision statement, Lynn.
Yeah. And then some of the things that we were kind of pointing out, feeling that we were missing, actually would then belong in the mission statement, because this is what we're going to do.
reading the list side by side of the stakeholder and the staff
Mhm.
feedback. I feel the vision statement could be like even more aspirational than the mission statement is as it reads now, like something to the effect of like every community member is empowered to have a better everyday life.
Mhm.
Like that's super aspirational, wouldn't only be the library doing that. And yet I can always like believe in the like vision of that for the library, helping
Right.
bring that to life. Like kind of why else do you exist in my
Right.
personal philosophy of the
Right.
library?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then you could maybe add some more nuance to the mission statement. Or
Right,
make it some, like right now it reads just library is, you could add more action words. So
right,
library creates safe space, inclusive space. So it's more like almost programmatic.
right.
Part of what you were saying, Lynn, I think is like, referring to the Scottish story, is like discover the world through the library,
Mm.
discover your community and the world through your library. And then go on from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that always worries me a little is that I think oftentimes when people, and so things like create a better life for everyone, those worry me because they don't, I mean, we all agree with them, obviously, but they're not necessarily truly the function of the library. I mean, it's an aspect of improving life. And so I guess it's just a little caveat of mine that be careful you're focused on the
But I think
right
the
thing.
vision statement is the big like thing to me. So if I'm reading like the first example, I don't know what company this is, right? But
Right.
inspire the world, create the future, like super broad, insanely general, a world where transportation is reliable. Like that's super specific. That's
Mhm.
how they do it. So doesn't mention transportation anywhere. I would definitely wouldn't like walk into a room and be like, oh, transportation is how we inspire the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's their vision,
Yeah.
the thing that gets them up in the morning. Yeah.
And it's specific to whatever company this is that came
Right.
up.
Yeah.
There. And that's kind of what I'm saying is that the core of what a library is and stands for. Not just all social things we'd like to improve. And then just to be upfront, it's a bit of a bugbear of mine generally that religious-hearted people can go a little a step away, but purely my take on it.
Mhm.
I've been in a situation just recently where some really interesting things were put into place and that became quite complicated. And at the end of the day, I'm like, did we need this? It sounded like such a great, helpful idea, but did anybody actually look for this here? So
Right.
just a thing.
Well, I mean, I do think most people who utilize libraries are trying to improve their lives, right? By coming to a program and learning something, by finding the materials they want to check out, by using a computer, by using the seed library, all of those things, I think can fall within that.
Absolutely true.
And even if it's purely entertainment,
Totally.
like
Right.
I want to read a bunch of junky fiction,
Fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Teresa, can you repeat your suggestion that you had
I
again?
wrote, empower all community members to have a better everyday life.
Liz, did you write down what you said?
Basically, I said, I was back to the inspire the world, create the future. And then in talking to Lynn, it's kind of like, I also like this is a part I didn't write down. Discover your community and the world through the library.
Mhm.
Discover yourself, the community, and the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, I like that one.
yeah.
yourself, your community, and your world.
Sarah, will the library staff review these and give input to them too? Vision.
I can ask them too. I mean, I was sort of thinking that the vision statement is really the library board, but I will certainly, I mean, I'm gonna tell my staff what it
Sure.
is and that they
Mhm.
may have comments about it that will make me go, oh,
Yeah.
you know,
that's
that, yeah, we should tweak this just a tiny
Mhm.
bit, or we
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
add this idea in there, like you did with the mission statement. 'Cause the mission statement in theory comes from the staff, but I wanted to get I try to get as much input as I can on everything we do, so that's what
Mhm.
that's what my goal is.
Cool.
How about something, discovering is active for
Mhm.
sure,
Mhm.
but even more of an action verb to me, is like discover and, better yourself, the community and your world at the library.
Mhm.
Or say at the library, but
Discover and better yourself, or
yeah, yeah. I don't know,
is that
maybe-
how you phrased it?
Yeah, that is how I phrased
Okay.
it, but, you don't want to say improve because
Yeah.
then that implies that it wasn't good beforehand. Want to critique it.
But it's through the library, not just at the library.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
So,
Yeah, because you can check out audiobooks.
Yeah. And I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
just
no, I know.
physically in it,
Yeah.
but yeah, your point, yeah, definitely is that wording.
Say like empower all. It's gone forever. Empower all to satisfy their curiosity en route to a better everyday life.
Mm,
'Cause curiosity was also on both lists,
mhm.
but that's not very pithy.
Satisfy your curiosity.
Mm,
Pithy.
yeah,
One of our focus areas.
Empower the community to satisfy their curiosity.
Question is, how do you spark the curiosity?
oh, I like that, sparking curiosity.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I heard your question, yeah. Curiosity sparked here, that's not either the vision or the mission. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Curiosity sparked and satisfied here.
Yeah.
There you go. And I think Dale, in answer to your question, one thing would be informing patrons in the community in general, since they may not all be patrons, with things that they may not be aware of, so that it's like, oh, well, what is that pastries with a police officer? What's up with that?
To me, that feels like the how, like the mission.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
methods.
I just wanted to
Mhm.
speak to Dale's question a little bit.
So we've got words in here that I circled that when you were talking about the words that you liked, inspire, community, connect. I mean, we could do some, just throwing this out there, I'm not making the decisions, obviously, but we could do something like discover yourself, inspire your community, and connect with the world. So
Yeah.
that those words were really in there,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
words that you sort of pulled out.
Mhm.
That's good.
Write that one down.
One more time.
Discover yourself, inspire your community, and connect with the world. We can move those words around to be inspire yourself,
Mhm.
discover your community, and connect with the world, or I guess you can't really connect. You can connect with yourself, but that might be a
Mhm.
little strange to have in a
It'd be a
mission
little
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I almost like discover the world
Mm-hmm.
via yourself and connect.
Mhm. What, say that again, Lynn?
Discover the world. I'm just turning the order around. Discover the world,
Mm-hmm.
connect with the community and inspire yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Variation of that.
I mean, that statement feels very empowering to me, which
Mhm.
we have empowering people as one of the
Yeah.
the things I've highlighted as well.
Mhm.
So the only things that aren't really in that statement are basic needs or better everyday life and access for all.
Yeah.
But those things can be in the mission statement as well.
Mhm.
Offer one more option in that vein, and maybe we could choose like which path to take.
Mm-hmm.
So we could also just say very simply to empower a better everyday life for all.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And those are, I feel like, the sort of two tree branches we have. Maybe we can choose one to stick with.
I don't want to be a wet rag, but I don't, I have problems with things that start out or that have empower this or empower that. It just, I don't know, it just hits me wrong. I don't know how else to explain it,
Mm-hmm.
but I appreciate the thought and you know, the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that word just has too much baggage for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our two options that are currently on the table are to empower a better everyday life for all. And we have it written as discover the world, connect with the community, inspire yourself. But maybe it should be discover your world, connect with your community and inspire yourself. So it's all about the
Mhm.
the
Individual.
The individual.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. Yeah. Because ultimately that does empower somebody.
Mhm. Yeah, it gets to the empowering piece without using the empower word. So if that's
Yeah.
a stumbling block for you, Liz.
Well, block it for everybody. I
No,
just-
no. I mean, instead of using the word empower, we could use a different word.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I think Teresa, you may have started with to bring about a better everyday life for all or something similar to that, right?
The idea of using the your, I think is a more positive thing to get people involved because we're talking about you,
Yeah.
not me,
Right.
Yeah.
anybody else, you.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody's world is different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody's, individual communities are different, right? So if we're talking about you and you and you, those might mean different things for each of you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think your statement about your
Mhm.
rang better with me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
because the world it's too impersonal.
Mm-hmm,
And it's also too big,
yeah.
Right.
I mean, in the sense that the one reason I like the other order, the original order of yourself, the community, your world, is because,
Goes from
You're
small to big.
yeah, because yourself, when you discover and empower yourself, you are going to or will be better equipped and more likely to better and improve the
Mhm.
community and the world.
Mm-hmm. So right now we have that written from the biggest
Right.
to the
Mhm.
broadest to the individual. But you're saying you might like from the individual to the broadest better?
Yeah, but yeah. But it's just kind of going the other direction is all.
Right.
So, I mean, all the components are there either way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I also think sometimes when you talk about discovering the world and you can sort of sound like you know everything about the world, right? And obviously none of us do.
Right.
Right.
So discover your world, I feel like has a more personal
Oh, yeah.
aspect to it. And it doesn't sound like I'm standing on my high horse saying you have to discover the world.
mhm.
You need to discover your world.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
I thought it just sounded more user-friendly.
Yeah.
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 And one change you could make,
Mm-hmm.
want to lean towards the making a better life for everyone rather than inspire yourself. It could be improve your life.
Mm-hmm. Or create a better life.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. I just worry that it sounds a little, and I completely get all of the life skills and tools that you can get at the library and the importance of that. But I wouldn't want it to sound too preachy.
Right.
Mhm.
So you're sort of suggesting, Lynn, discover your world, connect with your community, create a better life. Does that sound like what you were suggesting?
I'm personally happier with inspire yourself.
Okay.
But if we had the two branches, I'm thinking how could they pull
Could
together?
they combine into
Mhm.
one?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was going. And I think it was Heather talking about, maybe you should go from the personal to the large rather than the large to the personal. And I don't know.
I like the you words. I just not used to seeing them in a vision statement,
Mhm.
which doesn't mean you can't have them want to.
Right.
But I think it's throwing me a little bit because now I'm losing track of like who the vision is for,
Mhm.
really. Like, is it in most importantly to inspire the staff here or guide the programming or speak to the community? Like, who would ultimately be the most common user, like ingester of the vision?
Mhm. Yeah, who's the intended audience?
That's everybody, but
Yeah.
Good question.
I'm gonna go just write a Google question that says, who is the vision statement for?
Hmm.
Yeah. Words, I guess, probably usually. Everyone.
One within and connected to an organization,
Go
including
below.
employees, leaders, stakeholders, customers, and even the wider community.
Get out of AI.
Yeah.
Go down.
Yeah, go
Go
down.
down.
You don't like AI?
I
Yeah,
like it.
no,
It's just,
Vision statement is a written declamation clarifying your business's meaning and purpose to stakeholders.
Excuse me. Vision describes the basic human emotion that a
Mhm.
founder intends to be experienced by the people.
Is that right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
High level inspirational statement.
Mhm.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could say like is the right word, we help you discover the world, connect with the community and create a better everyday
Mm,
life for
mm.
all.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
good.
That's good.
Mhm. Mhm.
You repeat that, please?
We help you discover the world, connect with the community and create a better everyday life for all. Or
Thank
just
you.
better everyday life.
Mhm.
We help all discover the world.
Mhm.
Help everyone discover the world, connect with the community and create a better everyday life.
What are you mumbling over there, Teresa?
My husband.
Think talking.
We help everyone discover the world, connect with the community and create a better everyday life.
That's good.
Yeah, I like that.
On a note to get the you in there,
You say we help you instead of we
I
help.
just wrote a little thing here. Libraries are a repository of the world's knowledge, which needs to be shared with you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I started out with community, but that doesn't.
Couldn't get it to work. So if we, Teresa, because you started with, we help all discover the world. But if we did, we help you discover
Mhm.
your world, connect with your community and create a better everyday life for all. We could
Mhm.
end with the idea that it's for everyone.
That's
Mhm.
nice. Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm.
How if we were more active at helping?
Mhm. Or to help you, that's all it was, is to help
Mm.
you discover your world, connect with your community and create a better everyday life for all.
So we don't like the word we at the beginning. So,
I kind of did actually. I thought it was a fairly direct, this is what we do.
mhm.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a strong opinion. It's gonna work.
I'm gonna read it out one more time where we're at.
Mhm.
We help you discover your world, connect with your community, and create a better everyday life for all.
Yeah.
I
And it
like
could also be, I know.
That's how we say
it.
But it's the whole thing, and, uh. To create a better everyday life for all,
To create instead of and.
yeah,
So
or creating.
we help you discover your world, connect with your community, to create a better everyday life for all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's nice.
So I guess we have to say, we help you discover your world and connect with your community to
Mhm.
create a better everyday life for all.
Yeah, because that really, it really brings that accountability into the individual, to the you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That by helping you,
Mhm.
you're helping the
Everyone.
community, yeah,
Mhm.
you're helping
Mhm.
everybody.
Mhm.
Cool.
Give them some responsibility.
Yeah.
Including 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Does that get all of most of the pieces in there? Let's look at our words again.
Thinking of, so.
So the words I circled were inspires, empowering people, community, connection, basic needs or better everyday life, and access for all.
Mhm.
So I'm going to read this statement one more time and think about those words as we do. We help you discover your world and connect with your community to create a better everyday life for all.
I feel like that stakeholder group would be very happy with that.
Yeah.
Agree.
Energy of that room.
Mhm.
Yep.
It feels bright and positive without being
Preachy.
airy fairy or preachy.
Mhm.
It feels really rooted to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
It's grounded.
strong, grounded, yeah.
Mhm. And we're using words that are in the
Yep.
current mission statement,
Mhm.
discover and connect.
Yep.
So that's a good combination.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
I like it a lot. It didn't take us very long.
I didn't know how we would get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
I think, yeah, I think anytime you're doing vision and mission, I think it's like needs to be a group effort.
Totally. Yeah.
Especially if you're doing it for yourself,
Yeah.
you know, or your own business or
Yeah.
something, it's like, I don't know, it is for me. That's-
Yeah.
It's like, I need insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, do you want to,
Vote on it.
yeah,
Okay. So the statement for our vision
is
statement is,
we help you discover your world and connect with your community to create a better everyday life for all.
so all in, can we get a motion to,
I move that
I
we-
move that we accept the mission statement as presented.
I second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Nope. Okay. So
Yay.
approved. Yay.
We have it.
Yay. That's exciting.
Great job.
That's exciting.
All right, let's go back to our agenda and see where we are. Hope that was the minutes from the last meeting.
I had the same problem.
Yeah. They look so similar.
Yep, so we did the, yay. So
Yeah.
we're to the old business,
Yeah.
LDAC or task force update.
Yes, so the Library District Task Force, the newly appointed group that was approved at the January Board of County Commissioners meeting, I believe, that just met June 11th, met and had a discussion. I'm just going to read you a little bit about what the purpose of their meeting was, and then we can talk about it a little bit if you want. So the purpose that they had for the meeting was review the task force charge, roles, and responsibilities. Listen to committee ideas and viewpoints as it relates to the future of the library district. Review the relevant materials that they put out and provide input for task force meeting schedule. So our mayor is on this task force. And so there are 10 people on it, right? There is one urban mayor and one rural mayor, one urban city manager and one rural city manager, one urban library director, one rural library director, and 2 members of the public and then this county administrator and one more person that I can't think of. Sorry. Thought I had them all.
Network
The
person?
network person,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know that our mayor brought up the idea, and it came up from a couple people in the group, it sounds like, of trying to get more equity in the library district in terms of the funding. Because depending on the assessed value within
Mhm.
individual cities, some cities have a lot of funding and some
Mhm.
cities have a lot less funding,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Sure.
So if your houses are worth, $2 million on average, it's
Yeah.
much different than if your houses are worth $250,000 on average. So that was what our mayor brought forward to the group and shared with them, was one of her main concerns. So I know somebody who went to that meeting and sat in the audience and said that it seemed to be well received among the group.
Yeah.
Although I have a hard time believing that most cities will give up tax revenue
Right.
generated within their cities, right?
Right.
But it's on the table, at least as an idea, and trying to figure out how
How did you
how to do something with it.
equalize it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the moment, as the Woodland rep, I'm just going to point out, it's not just tax revenue, it's, when you have as high a percentage of non-resident homes in your area,
Mhm.
what income from that is considered, etc.
Right.
Sure that that might be a suggestion to Mayor Walker, that that's something else you should consider.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that is, I think, what the number one issue up in the Hoodland area, right? Is having all of those second homes and not having bodies attached to them who live there regularly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know there's a formula, I don't know what it was, but I don't know what the recent numbers are, but I've heard over 500 homes in our small area are STRs, and that does
Mhm.
not count retirement homes, people who just simply have a second home and don't rent it out. So it's an issue both for voting on future bond measures and equity in the redistribution of the.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Sarah, I'm sorry, will you remind me, because I know we did this like a year ago, the, like, the tap for the unincorporated areas, the funds, they come into the city of Sandy for the Sandy Woodland Library Administration.
So the
county?
so for all of the unincorporated areas, what they do is they pool all of those funds
Okay,
and then divide those funds based on the unincorporated populations for each service area.
okay, so like including other unincorporated areas beyond just Sandy Woodland, so Damascus, right, I think is incorporated.
Right, so
One unincorporated pool for the whole county.
right, so each library service area has unincorporated population within it.
Okay,
So yeah, so what the county does is they pool all of those funds. And then instead of giving the funds to like all of the funds that are generated in the Sandy and Hoodland Library Service area, instead of giving all of those funds to Sandy and Hoodland libraries, they pool all of those funds and then divide it by the population
okay.
within the unincorporated populations within those areas.
Okay.
And that's the source of the problem, because Sandy's money goes to the city of Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
City of Sandy tax dollars go to the city of Sandy. The
Right.
unincorporated Sandy area tax dollars are put into the pool along with the Hoodland tax dollars, and they're reallocated across all of the unincorporated based on basically voter population, right?
Mhm.
Based on residents. And Hoodland is in a unique situation because we have an unusually high number of vacation rentals and so on. And so those houses, that tax money doesn't come to Hoodland, it just kind of goes into the whole pool, and we just get the 6,000 or whatever the number is. So the suspicion is that we are being underfunded based on our tax base.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have to understand the formula
Yeah.
to know if that's actually true. And in one of the
Right.
county meetings, their attorney kept saying, well, there's a formula. Yes, I'm aware of that. What is it?
Yeah, so yeah, the formula can be.
I don't know what it is. And it is
Mhm.
such a unique situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because of
So that
where-
was one of the thing that was presented to talk about the formula.
Good.
And that could be one of the ways to try to deal with the equity issue, right? Is adjusting that formula.
Because it's not the same. I know that they came up with the formula to actually equalize it across all of the unincorporated, but it doesn't allow for special cases,
Right.
which we are in so many ways.
Do you know when the next meeting is, Sarah? Did they set a meeting?
I have not seen when the next meeting will be, but as soon as I hear about it, I will let you know.
On the LDAC, they're going to have a rural urban mayor, one of each, and the same for city managers. And who else is on the boards?
Library directors,
Oh, okay, one.
one urban and one rural library director.
Thank you.
2 community members
Mhm.
and the network
So
director.
that's the task force. That's the task
Yes,
force.
that
different
is the
from
task
LDAC.
force. Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which is which is separate from LDAC. Yeah,
Right. Mhm.
yeah,
This is the new
which
one.
is the Library District Advisory Committee. Which
Mhm.
LDAC does have a meeting coming up on Monday night. I have not seen an agenda for it yet, though.
On the 23rd.
Yeah, the 23rd.
Okay.
Let me just check. Hang on. 23rd. There is an agenda. I don't know.
You want to read what's on it, Lynn?
Just pulling it up. Well, I see that it's, oh, there we go. Try that. Blah, blah, blah. Old business doesn't say. New business. A, Library District Task Force. B, annual progress reports coming. Scheduling the next meeting. Other announcements. Huh.
All right.
So I think, obviously LDAC will be updated on the library task force, I think, and then annual progress reports coming. I'm not sure what that means. They're not there yet.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's mainly just an informational meeting about what happened at the task force meeting and
Right.
the
Mhm.
ideas that came up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you.
We'll move on to staff updates.
Yes. So the grants and fundraising for the mobile library. So we, at this point have fundraised $5,000 for the Sandy Library and somewhere around $750 for the Hoodland Library. So we're getting there.
Inching up.
Yeah, we're inching up. So both libraries have more than doubled their starting amounts. What we started with, because we had seed money in both libraries, so that was good. And then we are 2 grants opened this week that we can apply for. One of them is due July 11th and one is due sometime at the end of August, I believe. So we will be applying for 3 grants during this time period, most likely. So one of them we'll apply for in July and probably 2 in August. Unfortunately, the state library has decided not to open their grants cycle because of what's happening with the Institute of Museum and Library Services. So they have gotten all of their money through 2026. So that is good news, but they are holding back that grant money so that they can have staff longer if they don't end up getting any more money from the federal government going forward. So of course, things will change dramatically if that department goes away completely for libraries. But we're still hopeful. And, you know, the American Library Association is working on it. A number of states are suing the federal government, of course, for all kinds of reasons. But so we'll see how it ends up playing out. But right now, that grant funding is not available. And that was unfortunately the bulk of our grant possibilities. It was $50,000 that was available for individual projects. And so not having that option is sad. But we are going to forge on and try to get grant money.
So what was the thing at the Oregon legislature?
What thing at the Oregon?
The libraries, library presentations at the, and my, I'm not connected to the internet. Well, maybe I can play this one. Oh, I can't because it's in Facebook. Anne Freeze had posted a thing that, it was a picture of her testifying before Congress in Oregon. It had to do with, geez, I need to find it. I don't want to, oh, here we go. There's Sandy Freenet. All right, now let me find the article. I wanted to forward it to everybody, but I couldn't, okay, come on, done, all right. Can we go, come on. Something, check.
You have a total of how much for the bookmobile?
So far in fundraising, $5,000 for Sandy and $750 for Hoodland.
Okay, thank you.
That one.
Intellectual freedom. Oh, this was, okay, that was a
That's
bill
separate.
that was about trying to prevent book banning in
Oh,
Oregon.
okay, sorry, I thought it had to do with the funding.
Yeah. So a lot of states are trying to preempt
Right.
book banners by passing legislation that says, you know, for the freedom of information reasons, everybody should be able to read whatever they want to, basically. So that
Okay.
was what she was testifying on there.
Okay, too
So
bad it wasn't about money.
Yeah.
what was do we have a goal for what we want to raise from the community?
Yeah, well, it's between fundraising and grants.
Okay.
So for Sandy, it's somewhere around 133,000, and for Hoodland, it's 54,000.
And when is the money for the mobile library due?
So we are, I mean, by the time we find out if we get the grants, I mean, that's when I'm gonna basically have them deliver the vehicle. Yeah, I mean, the vehicle is basically sitting there, ready.
Right,
We just need
okay.
the money to be able to
Yeah.
bring it here. Yeah. So, I
To
mean,
ransom it.
yeah. So, and in the Sandy Library budget, we're hoping to get $50,000 in grants and fundraising. And then if we need more money than that to finalize the vehicle, it is written in my budget that we have the money.
Oh, okay.
And the money is in the Hoodland budget purchase for that entire purchase of $54,000. So we, in theory, have the money,
Mhm.
but we are waiting to see if we get those grants, because of course, the money that we need doesn't include all kinds of things that we need
Yeah.
to do all of the programs out in the
Right.
community. It doesn't include all of the STEM kits that we need to purchase and all of
Mm-hmm.
the chairs for sitting at the
Computers.
desks and the computers and all of those things. So that's just for the basic upfitting of the vehicle, the money that we
Right.
need. Yeah. So have to see how it all plays out, but either way, we can get the vehicle.
Yeah.
Forward.
But if the more grants that we get, the more money we have to try to purchase all of the extra things that we
Yeah.
need, and yeah.
So do we have any additional ideas, direction, programs on asks for basically getting the word out to get more contributions? Not
So,
through grants, but like,
mhm.
in the communities.
Britt just came to do an interview with me from the Sandy Post, and so there will be an article in the Sandy Post about it. She suggested that we could purchase some ads to get the word out. So I haven't asked the Friends of the Library yet, but I was planning to ask them if they would be willing to spend, like, maybe, I was thinking the Sandy Friends could spend $400 and the Hoodlands Friends could spend $100, and we could join them together to do those ads. She suggested we could do a banner at the very top of the newspaper, so it would be on that front page of the newspaper. And that is for 1 week, I think it's it's just over $150. So which seems fairly reasonable. I asked her how many people get the print newspaper
just gonna
versus the digital, and she said that the last time she looked, it was about even, although digital is starting to inch up over print a little bit.
How would it show up in digital?
So the banner wouldn't show up at digital, but she suggested that we could get, I think she said 20,000 impressions, which are like pop-up ads in the digital, and you can have you create 5 different sizes of pop-up ads, and then your ad shows up. And so for $500 total, we could get 2 weeks of banners, maybe one this month and one next month, or one in July and one in August. And then we could get those digital impressions. And that would be like, I think, don't quote me, but it was somewhere under $500 for all of those 3 things to be able to do. So
Okay.
we could be in the digital and in the print copies.
Mhm.
And then the
So
Mountain
Sam-
Times is the mountain paper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
that gets mailed to every resident.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that used to be $90 for an ad.
Like a quarter sheet.
Yeah, roughly.
Mhm.
They might have increased the rates, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the sort of the paper of record for the community. That is what.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, tomorrow is a holiday for the library, but on Friday, I'm hoping to send out emails to the Friends of the Both Libraries to ask if they're willing to put some money up front to do some advertising to get some more donations for the vehicle. So,
I'll bring it up tomorrow at a meeting.
okay. Well, thank you.
And yeah, just to reiterate what Teresa said, for the mountain community, it really needs to be advertised in the Mountain Times, not the.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does anybody read the Hoodview News? No?
No, only one I use it for Firestar.
All right, I just wanted to ask.
Okay.
Google AdWords, have you tried that at all? Who does that? It could be helpful anytime somebody searches for like the Sandy or Hoodland Library, for example, you can have that pop up there.
Mhm.
They're usually like pretty affordable. You can set like an
Mhm.
amount you want to spend,
Right,
but you know, just who else is being with you? It's around the world.
right. Yeah.
Same thing with Facebook ads.
Mhm.
And has Laura done any social media on Nextdoor?
That's the ticket.
That is the Hoodland ticket for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Alex and Laura where they've already posted it. I feel like we don't have it on our website currently, and I need to resolve that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's sort of difficult to update our website or get it in the right
Mm-hmm.
frames. So, I mean, especially I feel like it needs to be on our main landing page, right?
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
Right now, that's the hours for both libraries is all we have on that page. So it's unfortunate how our website works, but it's way better than our last website that we had to try to work with. So
Mhm.
we're continually improving.
Yeah.
All you can do.
Yeah, but yeah, next week I'm definitely gonna work on that with Maureen, who updates our website to try to figure out the best route for getting it on there.
Yeah.
We also have to have a QR code for Sandy and a QR code for Hoodland, or a link for Sandy and a link for Hoodland, which I know confuses lots of people. Lynn, you gave to the Sandy.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Move it.
So, and I know that that is a little bit problematic. If you're not reading every single word, or you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, there it is, that's how I donate. So, yeah. In the banner ad that we do, on the print paper, it's 1 inch high and 8.5 inches long. So I don't know how to get enough information in that amount of space. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. So that is my update.
Okay.
We do have I should probably just mention, we have a teen intern working for us this summer, Riley Berg, who is working on a program with the fish hatchery that will be about the life cycle of the salmon. So, yeah, and it's gonna be, they just figured out it can be held at the fish hatchery. They went out there to do a tour, and the staff there were really excited about it as well. And they're gonna loan a bunch of staff for the event. So yeah, that's very exciting. I think probably the end of July will be that program is what we're thinking.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
We have some new shelvers on board. One of which is a previous shelver, Justin Newberry. He worked for us, and he's come back to work for us for this time. And then we have 2 new shelvers starting next week, Justine, and so we have Justin and Justine, and Jennifer. So,
Ooh, JJJ.
yeah. So, but with that, we are fully staffed once again.
Yay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome.
Any other items to bring up?
Not for me.
Okay. No, we can adjourn the meeting at 7:28. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Lynn. See you later.
Thank you, Lynn.
Bye, everyone.